A lone rider gallops across the endless steppes of Mongolia. His horse thunders beneath him as the wind whips through his hair. He holds his weapon tightly in one hand, his eyes locked forward, piercing, focused. Clad in the armor of his people, he urges his steed faster, faster, towards a fate unknown. Beside him, another rider, then another, and another. There are thousands. The riders race towards an enemy, their battle cries filling the air. The sound of hooves and clashing weapons. The man fights fiercely, his sword flashing through the air as he cuts down his foes, one by one. But in the end, he falls. The Mongol steppes are brutal. No mercy, no surrender. Only the strong survive. This is where our story begins. How did a boy born in the hardest of conditions rise from an outcast to become one of history's greatest conquerors? It's a question that has puzzled historians for centuries. Today, we will try to answer it. Let's dive in to the story of Genghis Khan. The Mongolian steppe was a land of extremes. Scorching summers, brutal winters and endless grasslands where only the strongest survived. It was here in 1162 that a boy named Temujin was born into the Borjin clan, destined for hardship long before he could even walk. His father, Yesugai, was a respected but not particularly powerful chief. And his mother, Holun, was a woman of unbreakable spirit, traits that would shape Temujin's own destiny. But fate was cruel. When Temujin was just 9 years old, his father was poisoned by the Tatars, a rival tribe. His family standing collapsed overnight. Mongol law was brutal. Without a strong leader, a family was nothing, abandoned by their own tribe. Temujin, his mother and his siblings were left to fend for themselves in the unforgiving wilderness. Hunger became their constant companion. They scavenged for food, surviving on roots, berries and whatever scraps they could find. Holun, once a proud wife of a chieftain, now struggled to keep her children alive. Yet she refused to break. She taught Temujin resilience, warning him that in this world, trust was a dangerous luxury. But even among his own blood, betrayal lurked. His half-brother, Bekter, took advantage of the family's desperation, hoarding food and asserting dominance over his younger siblings. Temujin, just a boy, but already learning the harsh realities of power, saw only one solution. He killed Bekter. It is unclear when and why he killed Bekter. Some say it is because Bekter stole a piece of fish from him, or Temujin tried to secure his familial position. It might have happened during these hard years, or right after Temujin's father was killed, as Bekter was to lead the tribe after Yesugai's death. One thing is clear, he killed his half-brother. He already showed how ruthless he would become. Yet the hardships were far from over. At 16, Temujin was captured by the Taichitu tribe, rivals of his father. They bound him in a wooden kank, a device that restricted movement, treating him like an animal. Most prisoners never escaped, but Temujin wasn't like most. He observed, waited, and found an opportunity. One night, as his captors relaxed, he smashed his kank against a tree, breaking free. A sympathetic family hid him and he slipped away under the cover of darkness. It was more than just an escape, it was a lesson. Survival wasn't enough. Power was the only real protection. Temujin knew that if he didn't rise above the chaos, he would forever be at the mercy of stronger men. And so, with nothing but hunger, rage and a burning desire to carve his own fate, Temujin set out on the long road to reclaim his place in the world. Temujin had survived the wilderness, betrayal and captivity, but survival wasn't victory. If he wanted to reclaim his birthright, he needed allies, real allies. The first was Jamuka, a childhood friend who became his Anda. In Europe, we would say blood brother. They had grown up together, dreaming of greatness, and now as young men, they reunited to build a following. Together, they gathered warriors from scattered Mongol tribes, promising a new way of rule, one based on merit, not on noble birth. But there was another bond, just as crucial. Burte, Temujin's wife. Their marriage wasn't just about love, it was political. Burte came from the Ongera tribe, a strong ally that would provide him warriors and legitimacy. She believed in his vision, and he in hers. However, power attracts enemies. The Merkid tribe, seeking revenge for an old feud with Temujin's father, raided his camp and kidnapped Betrayal. Temujin was powerless to stop them. He had no army, no wealth. But giving up was never an option. He turned to an unexpected ally, Togru, the Khan of Kariet, who had once sworn loyalty to Temujin's father. With Togru's forces and Jamuka by his side, Temujin launched a daring raid, defeating the Merkids and rescuing Betrayal. But something had changed. The world had shown him that loyalty was temporary, that power was the only real currency, and soon even his closest friendships would be tested. Temujin and Jamuka had once fought side by side, but their visions for the Mongols were no longer the same. Temujin believed in loyalty through leadership, rewarding warriors based on skill, not birthright. Jamuka, born into nobility, believed in the old ways, where aristocrats ruled and common warriors obeyed. The divide became a war. Temujin's forces, made up of outcasts, former slaves and ambitious warriors, initially crossed Jamuka's army. Temujin had the upper hand, but power can shift in an instant. Jamuka regrouped, struck back and defeated Temujin's forces. His revenge was ruthless. He executed 5,000 of Temujin's men in one of the most brutal massacres of the era. It could have been the end, but for Temujin it was only the beginning. He learned a crucial lesson. Loyalty was fragile, and fear was a more reliable tool. He rebuilt his forces, perfected his strategies, and turned his army into a force unlike anything the steppe had ever seen. This time, there would be no mercy. Mongol tribes had always fought for power, but Temujin wasn't just fighting, he was building something new. He implemented strict discipline in his army, forbidding looting without permission. He enforced a code of loyalty, rewarding warriors regardless of their lineage. His leadership was based on merit, unity, and absolute control. But his true genius lay in his military innovations. He organized his forces into units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000, ensuring communication and efficiency in battle. He used spy networks, psychological warfare, and deception tactics to defeat enemies before they even realized they were under attack. Temujin wasn't just another Mongol warlord. He was a visionary, transforming a collection of feuding tribes into a single unstoppable force. By 1206, Temujin had fought tooth and nail to unite the Mongol tribes. The steppe, once fragmented and divided, now lay under his control. But there was one final obstacle. Jamuka, the man who had once been his blood brother, now his most bitter rival. Their final confrontation would come to define Temujin's path to greatness. After the brutal massacre of 5,000 of Temujin's men by Jamuka's forces, it seemed as if Jamuka had secured his place as the supreme ruler. He was elected as Gur Khan in a Kurotai, which meant universal ruler. The Kurotai consisted of enemies of Temujin and would not want to see him rule. This was the last straw for Temujin. With an unyielding resolve, he rebuilt his army, learning from his past mistakes. His followers, those loyal to him, not by birthright but by merit, stood by his side, eager to prove their loyalty and skill. The battle between Temujin and Jamuka was inevitable. When it came, it was a violent clash of two visions for the Mongol future. Temujin, backed by a loyal and fierce army, decisively defeated Jamuka's forces. But this victory was far more than just another battle won. It was a symbolic break from the old ways of Mongol leadership, where the power of birth and bloodline reigned supreme. Jamuka, defeated, escaped with his remaining army. Sometime later, his army betrayed and captured Jamuka. They brought Jamuka to the now victorious Temujin. Due to one of the laws which Temujin came up with, never betray your Khan, he had the man immediately executed. Jamuka was captured by Temujin. In a move that shocked many, Temujin spared his old brother's life. But Jamuka refused, believing there could only be one ruler. He requested an honorable death, and Temujin granted his wish. With Jamilkar's death, the steppe was entirely in Temujin's grasp. The last of his rivals was either dead, defeated or bent the knee. In 1206, a grand Kurutai was called, bringing together the Mongol tribes to formally recognize their new leader. Temujin stood before them, his face marked by the years of struggle, betrayal and victory. He was no longer just a tribal leader. With one powerful declaration, he was named Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. The title was a recognition of his unrivaled power and ambition, a man who had not only unified the Mongols, but had forged an empire that would shake the world. This moment didn't just mark the end of a series of battles, it marked the birth of something far greater. The Mongol Empire was born, and with it, the legend of Genghis Khan. Temujin's journey from an abandoned outcast to Genghis Khan was forged through hardship, loyalty and ruthless ambition. Each betrayal hardened him, each ally strengthened him, and each victory solidified his rule. His leadership wasn't just about brute force, it was about strategy, loyalty and breaking the traditions that once held the Mongols back. By the time he took the title of Genghis Khan, he had done more than unite warring tribes. He had built the foundation of an empire that would change the course of history. Having brought his vision to life and unified the Mongol tribes, Genghis Khan now turned his gaze beyond the horizon, towards the unconquered lands that lay before him. What had started as a dream of unification was now a brutal reality, and the world would soon know the true scale of his ambition. His journey would shatter the boundaries of the known world, and kingdoms far and wide would tremble beneath his might, knowing they were at his mercy. In the next episode, we'll follow Genghis Khan into his brutal campaigns against the kingdoms of China, where his empire would take shape and his legendary ruthlessness would define the future of his people. Until then, I'm the Chronicler, reminding you to like, subscribe, and remember, history is written in mystery.